2016. This is Sylvia Shivamurthy and you're listening to the newspaper reviews on www.athavaneng.com. Let's now look at the paper highlights from today's newspapers. The top highlight in Sunday Observer says, Convertible conversion deal. Yuan to enter Colombo. The Chinese yuan will be made a convertible currency in Sri Lanka soon after the China Bank set up operations in Colombo, Central Bank Governor Arjun Mahendran said. Mahendran was a member of the high-profile Sri Lankan delegation visiting China with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. During the visit, representatives of the Sri Lankan government had extensive discussions with the Chinese government to strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries on the political and economic fronts. Mahendran told the Sunday Observer that with the new move, the Chinese yuan will have the same status in Sri Lanka as the US dollar. The central bank governor, however, did not disclose exact time frames of the new arrangement. The decision is significant on many grounds. While it allows China to consolidate its economic position in this part of the world, it also enables Sri Lanka to have more interaction with China financially in terms of soft loans and other short and mid-term financial measures. It is a step in the right direction as China is positioning itself to be the global economic superpower, analysts who wish to remain anonymous told the Sunday Observer. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe told a business forum in Beijing, China, that the Sri Lankan government was looking at a public-private partnership and the government will play the role of a regulator. Another highlight says, Panama Papers secret finance exposed. Lankan authorities to request local data. Sri Lankan law enforcement agencies are expected to shortly begin global inquiries to unearth detailed data on Sri Lankan secret account holders listed in the Panama Papers journalistic exposure. National investigative agencies are likely to formally approach the Europe-based Investigative Journalists Consortium, which recently released to the global media millions of documents of computer-based data on bank accounts and secret shell companies by individuals across the world. The highlight in the middle says, ACE Power Amblypitiya joins National Grid. ACE Power, a 100 MW thermal power station in Amblypitiya, which was decommissioned last year, has now begun contributing 40 MW of power to the national grid this week as an emergency measure to avert an emergency crisis, Sulakshana Jayawardena, spokesperson to the Ceylon Electricity Board, said. And the highlight at the bottom says, Joint opposition goes ahead with May Day rally. The joint opposition yesterday confirmed its decision to hold a joint May Day rally at Kirlapene together with the Joint Council of Trade Unions. The joint May Day procession will commence from Shalika Grounds, Narayanpeta. The police has given tentative approval for the route and the venue of the rally. MEP leader and UPFA Colombo District MP Dinesh Gunawardena told the Sunday Observer yesterday. Let's now move to the paper highlights in Sunday Times. The top highlight says, 2.88 trillion rupees spirited out of Sri Lanka in last 10 years. Corrupt individuals including politicians and businessmen, criminals and tax evaders have moved $19.96 billion in dirty money out of Sri Lanka in the decade up to 2013, an organization that tracks the movement of shady money has revealed. The equivalent of 2.88 trillion rupees has been illegally taken out of the country in the 10 years from 2004 to 2013, data reveal. The highlight at the middle says, Minister disconnects with SLT chief's huge housing allowance. A decision reportedly taken by the Sri Lanka Telecom Board to approve a huge monthly housing allowance of 725 rupees for its chairman PG Kumarasinghe Sirisena has been challenged by Telecommunications and Digital Infrastructure Minister Harin Fernando. And the highlight at the bottom says, Port City apart from megapolis, financial hub of Asia, says PM. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said yesterday that the Port City project would operate as a joint Sri Lanka-China venture and be incorporated into the larger megapolis plan in which even Indian businesses could invest. Some of the Indian companies have told me that they are interested in coming to the port city. It's a joint venture. There will be the Chinese company and there will be the Sri Lankan company, and we want to put 40% out into the stock market. The Indian companies can also invest in the Sri Lankan venture, he told a news conference in China capital Beijing at the end of 4-day official visit. And now let's look at the paper highlights in Ceylon today. The top highlight says, Minister's advisor in Panama Papers. An advisor of a frontline minister who has served in the previous regime and now in the incumbent government has been embroiled in the controversial Panama Papers, making a veritable mockery of the principles of good governance touched by the government while in opposition. Another highlight says, Joint opposition has no slogans, media no headlines. Another highlight says, what El Nino is up to just isn't cool. There's another highlight which says, Perumal drops Elam from his party. Another highlight in the middle says, Vijay newspaper's Champika's secretary under fire. And the highlight at the bottom says, an imported dye in the melons you buy. And that's all for today's newspaper highlights, and we'll get back to you with more news tomorrow. Thank you.